All right, so thank you again for joining us today, everyone. This is Michael. I'm gonna butcher your last name again. I apologize.
Try anyway.
Fritzius. I messed it up already. I know you said
It's
it a few minutes ago.
Fritzius.
Fritzius. Okay, all right.
It looks like Fritzius.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. So he's just got a ton of awesome knowledge he's going to impart on you today. Please, as we're going through, feel free to engage, ask questions, or maybe even at the end. I'm sure he'd also love to hear about some of your business ideas. I know that has a lot of experience with entrepreneurship, and I'm sure he can give you some feedback. So thanks again for coming.
Anytime. Hi guys. How you doing today?
Morning.
Good morning.
Good.
So I like to open with a question. Y'all know what you want to be when you grow up? Who knows what they want to be when they grow up? Kind of, yeah. Okay.
I have an idea.
All right, kind of an idea. All right. I'm surprised, not a lot of people, hardly anybody actually knows what they want to be when they grow up. So this next slide here is going to be a little bit presumptuous. I bet none of you raised your hands. I'm wrong. I had 1.5 hands raised. You raised your hand about a half.
Yeah, it was like
yes, I know what I want to be. What do you want to be? Business owner?
Huh?
A business owner?
No, actually, I'm gonna major in criminal justice and psychology.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. How about you?
I know what field I'm going into.
Yeah.
Kind of where I kind of like going to the financial field, investment banking, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, you picked a great city to get into that because it's like there's financial institutions out the wazoo here. But yeah, not a lot of people really, the majority of people in this room, we're not really sure what we're going to be when we grow up. Can I take this down real quick? All right. I'm having trouble talking through it. Smashing my nose against my face. Not a lot of people really know what they want to be when they grow up. When they're asked that question, they're like, oh, kind of, But what I want to share with you today is there is a definitive way to know how to answer that question. There is a way to know based on yourself, the world around you, what that looks like. It's a really cool concept that I want to get into a little bit later. Just to get a bit acquainted with your speaker, which you did a pretty good job. You got it as a public school B+ in how you pronounce my last name. It's Fritzius. Michael Fritzius is my name, and no, I don't know the nationality. I don't know what the heck I am. Heinz 57 mix. Everybody calls me Fritz because my last name looks like it says Fritzius, and it saves a lot of time and trouble for people. So you're welcome to call me Fritz. Anymore, if I'm out in public and somebody is like, yo, Michael, I'm like, oh, geez, that's me. Because like rarely anybody outside of my family calls me that. So it's kind of cool. You guys are welcome to call me Fritz. I graduated from Fox High School, probably a rival of y'all's, back in 1999. Lord, that makes me sound old. I graduated in the 1900s. Can you believe that? Probably none of you were even born then. Isn't that crazy? I was thinking about that on the way over here, and I'm like, I don't want to sound like an old fart if I say when I graduated. I don't care. I actually went to college. I was in college for about 7 years. I liked it so much, I just kept accruing majors. I got into electronics and robotics, and I got an Associate of Applied Science degree. And then I got into computer science. So I graduated from UMSL in 2006 with a bachelor's degree in computer science. I was a huge nerd. I love writing code. I love writing software. And I got my start in a career of doing just that. Love writing pieces of code that do work for people and do some cool experimental stuff. Got into software testing. I got into automation. And then I became a business owner as of about 5 years ago. So now I'm the owner and founder of Arch DevOps here in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm the CTO, so Chief Nerd Officer, basically. And that leads us to today. I've learned all kinds of crazy stuff. So I got a few fun facts that I want to share, just to kind of break the ice. Okay, so just thinking back on what all I've learned and the kinds of things that I've been exposed to over the years. Back in school, I thought the DECA kids were really weird. I really did, and I'm sorry. And I'll tell you why I thought they were weird, okay? So like, in high school, there's like a caste system. You got your jocks, you got your nerds, you got your preps, and it's like, okay, I'm a nerd. I know what I'm about. I'm in my lane. The DECA kids didn't seem to like fit any of that. There was like nerds and jocks and preps and all mixed in. And it's like, what the heck are these people? I don't know how to label them. Deca kids. But you know what? Looking back, if I had like hung around you all a little bit more, I probably would have learned some cool stuff that would have like eased the blow of starting a business later in life. Probably would have learned some stuff. Lesson learned, you know, I learned later on in life to buddy up with people that aren't like me. So I apply that every day. Another fun fact, I did not plan on ever becoming a business owner. And, you know, I bought into the American dream of, you know, get a good 6-figure paying job or 5 figures, whatever they'll offer you, and just, you know, buckle down and find something stable and work at the same place for 30 years. How many of you think that is actually a thing that can be done today, like especially in information technology? Have you heard of anybody working anywhere for 30 years straight? Ever?
I mean, I had a bad job, yeah.
Like at a bad job, sure. It's like, I guess that's what pays the bills. Time to make the donuts, right? I didn't plan to become a business owner, guys. I was going to be like working in an office cubicle for the rest of my life. And things happened, and I ended up getting, you know, having an opportunity to start a business, and that led to what it was today. But it was not planned. I was not raised to be an entrepreneur. Okay, I was not raised to be an entrepreneur. And then I have learned a lot of stuff the hard way. I tend to be kind of a slow learner, I guess. You know, kind of run aground on some different things and be like, well, that sucked. So, you know, what can I learn from this, right? And I learned things the hard way. It is fine. It's working out well for me. I don't mind it. That's how I get my excitement. That's how I get my adrenaline rush, is just figuring crap out, jump in the deep end and be like, well, now I'm screwed. How am I going to get out of this? But I learned a lot of stuff the hard way. And some of the stuff that I've learned the hard way, some of the stuff I want to teach y'all today. All right. What I've learned over the years is that humans are the toughest critters on the planet. We are absolutely resilient. There's a lot of stuff that you can go through, and you'll come out the other side, not just fine, but more than fine. You're going to be a lot stronger, smarter, tougher, wiser than you were. So it's okay to just jump full on into challenges and be like, let's see what happens. Okay, you're really tougher than you think you are. Another thing I've learned is that life is really deep and complex. I can look back on events that happened 20 years ago, or people that I've built relationships with 5 or 10 years ago, and say, hey, if it hadn't been for that person or that event happening, I wouldn't be where I am today. Life is just really complex. The more of it you live, the more you realize like everything touches everything else. There's like full situational awareness with everything that we do. All the relationships that you all are building here with your class, as you graduate, you leave, you go on to do bigger and better things, like you're all impacting each other. And it's really, really freaking cool. Like I get giddy talking about this kind of stuff because it's exciting. Life is just this big, gushy, smushy stuff. And if you'd asked me 20 years ago, I wouldn't have said anything like that. I'd be like, oh, don't make waves, right? Just get out there and live life. And then there's, like I said before, there is a way to answer the opening question. Like, what do you want to be when you get past a certain point? What do you really want to do? What's driving you? So there's this idea that I picked up a few years ago. I happened to run across some people, you know, in this complex life scheme that had this idea. They had this concept called Ikigai. Now, other than the name of the meeting today, have you heard of that term before? Anybody ever heard of Ikigai? Awesome. That means I can tell you exactly whatever I want. You'll believe me. So Ikigai, it's actually a pretty complex term. It has to do with types of work and the blend of these types of work. Okay, so the first is it's made of work that you love doing. Let's have some volunteers. What kinds of things do you love to do? It could be anything. It could be a hobby. It could be a job. It could be, you know, whatever. What do you love doing? What do you love doing? You're making eye contact. I see you.
I like playing video games.
Video games. I like playing video games too. There's a reason why I don't now. I'll get into it later, but I'm fine. I just, I had some things happen. So what else? Sounds freaking ominous. I'm sorry. I became a dad. I don't have time. That's the thing. Spoiler alert. Who else? What do you have? You with the mask?
Me?
Yeah,
Oh, I love yoga.
yoga. I don't. I am the least flexible person. Like I'm kind of I guess you would say I'm sort of a poser, but not a poser, like a yoga poser. I can't do like down facing dog. I'm like, oh, blood's rushing to my head. Oh my God. So I can't do it very good. So that's cool. You like video games, you like yoga. Okay, you love doing some stuff. There's some things about life that just get you up out of bed in the morning. Yes, I love doing X, all right? Second part of it is work that you're great at doing, okay? What are some things that you just rock socks at? Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta put me on the spot there.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'm really good at
Math.
yeah, math. I'm good at math.
There we go, you're bad. All right. You're a huge nerd like me, I can tell.
Yeah.
What about front row here, Waterman?
I like working with people.
Awesome. Working with people. Isn't that cool? Like you're able to like interface with people a lot like smoother and everybody else is like trying to run through like, how do I human? It's like, yeah, you got it in the bag, man. That's awesome. So work that you love, work that you're great at, work that the world needs. What kinds of hairy problems are out there that the world just needs solving? One of the two girls in the second from the back on my right, who's looking at me. What's the world, what sucks about the world? Why, what kinds of things does the world need help with? Anything.
The world needs to have more sustainable companies that are better for the environment.
That's a good one. Talk about like environmentally stable or what?
Yeah, just like thinking about like daily work practices and how like emissions and all that, you can be better at that.
Okay. So like clarity, company clarity kind of thing.
Apple.
Apple.
Mhm.
There we go.
The world needs Apple.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be carbon neutral and 2030 entire
There we go.
company.
It's like more apples.
Yeah.
But hey,
Every company ever has said that.
Yeah.
I know Apple will do it. I can
We're gonna be carbon negative by 2030. So okay, we'll need some more apples. Got it.
Well, what are you, Samsung? What's going on here?
What's going on?
Do you have a
Samsung?
Samsung? Are you an Apple guy?
I don't know how to answer. You gonna be mad at me if I tell you what I have?
Well, I feel like you're an
Yeah,
Apple
he's
person.
gonna judge you very hard.
Yeah, he's already judging everyone about that.
Judging me? Oh man, okay, that's cool. I'm watching you. No, I've got an Android.
Yeah, I figured.
That's supposed to be.
My dad has one too.
Hey, oh, now I'm
Alright.
a profile.
Up on your hot
What the
horse
heck?
over there.
Oh man. 10 points for Slytherin. I like you. You're a cool guy.
Thanks, bud.
So the world needs more apples. They need more companies that are sustainable, that care about the environment, that want to have a low.
Maybe more like Patagonias. They're very good for the environment. Like
They are.
like actually, I'm not sure about Apple, but
They are.
Patagonia is good.
Yeah.
More Patagonias, I would say.
Although
Cool guy.
they're not as like big. So
Well-
more ideal for Apple.
Well, they're not.
So overall, companies that are like more like situationally aware is what I'm picking up on, right?
Yeah.
Like, ones that are like, they're aware of their place in the world. They're not like trying to exploit everybody. They're not trying to harm the environment, but they want to do good for all people, right? More companies like that. That's cool. And then finally, it's work that the world will pay for. What kinds of things do you think people want to pay money for? See that brown jacket in the back there? Sorry. Yeah, what will the world pay for?
I don't know, work that just addresses people's needs.
That's right.
Work that just addresses like people's needs, like whether that's like, I don't know, like food or any need.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So you're getting into, I don't have a slide for this, but Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Like you build your stuff up on a pyramid, like the lowest is like food, shelter, water, clean air, that kind of thing. And then up at the top is like Xbox. So you know, the stuff at the bottom, people will buy stuff that they need, right? Like if you don't buy it, if you don't have it, you die. Right? What's another thing? You already made eye contact. I'm sorry. I see you, Michigan. What kinds of things would people pay for? You think? Can't say food.
People pay for entertainment,
There we go.
pleasure, like traveling.
Yep. They do. They pay out the wazoo for experiences, right?
Experiences, yeah.
So here's the cool thing. Ikigai is a combination of work that you love doing, work that you're good at, work that the world needs, and work that the world is willing to pay for. All right. So if you can come up with a business that ticks all 4 of those boxes, you're done. You win at life. Game over. Collect your check. $200 now has go. But so many companies, they don't focus on all 4 of these things. You know, they'll do 3 or 2 or whatever, and then it's like womp womp. It doesn't resonate, right? It doesn't feel right to the world. So if you can build a business off of that blend, you're actually going to be way ahead of any competition that you may have in that space. Plus, you get an added bonus. It is an awesome freaking way to find a niche, okay? With so many other possible contenders for people's attention, you know, both of their minds and their pocketbooks, right, where they're going to spend money. You got to have a way to distinguish yourself. Think about how unique you would be if you started a business that focuses on things that you're passionate about, things that you're really good at, where your strengths lie, and that people want and are willing to pay for. Okay, all 4 of those things. It's a really, really cool way. If you dig deep into that niche, people aren't going to spend the time to come after you if they're not passionate about it or they're not good at it. Okay, they're just not. You're going to have that niche all to yourself. So what if one of these is missing? Just some group exercises here. What if you had a business that you were awesome at doing the work and the world needed it, absolutely, and they are willing to pay for it, but you hated it? Every day you get up and you're just like, God, but you did it. What do you think that would do to your business? What do you think the result would be? Yeah, exactly. There should be an emoji for that, right? What would that look like? Like, how would you personally feel if you were at the helm of a business like that?
Not great.
Not great.
No passion.
Yeah, you're not passionate about it.
Would you be making a lot of money?
Yeah, you would be. You would be, but
But like, how,
Like an amount of money that's worth like
Your
how
misery?
bad, yeah. Exactly.
is just some really philosophical question there. I mean, is there an amount of money? Like,
Well,
what's
I
your
think
price?
there is.
What's your price for doing something that you
Retire
hate?
At some point, then you're out.
Doing something I really hate or just like hate like moderately?
Like really, because eventually, if you hate it moderately, you're gonna really freaking hate it later on. You're gonna be like, I just want to end it. Seriously, like this sucks. This sucks, right? Like after a while, you know, like I get it. I used to be your age once, right? I used to think like I could do anything for 30 years, and I'm like, there are some things I just do not care to do, and it took until now to realize that. So I mean, but I mean, yeah, if you're making a ton of money, but you hate what you're doing, it's like,
Yeah.
just try to avoid that, please. Okay.
I will.
Okay, please, like.
Well, what makes the money?
Fatherly or at least big brother wisdom here. Like try to avoid that, okay? If you're not passionate about it, it's gonna really stifle the growth of the company, right? Here's another thing. Sorry. What if you love doing it, the world needs it, the world's willing to pay for it, but you're not really that good at it? What do you think that's gonna do to the company? Nothing.
Unsuccessful.
You'll be unsuccessful. You may not make as much money
Pay people to do it.
giving subpar results than if you were really, really good at it, right? So you have a company, but it won't be as profitable as it could. What about if the world doesn't feel like they really need it?
Nobody will buy it.
Nobody's going to buy it.
Market.
Yeah, there's no market for it. That's the market research side. okay? So these are all things where all four of these categories of work, if they all blend together, they all support each other. If even one is missing, really the whole thing kind of falls apart. It's beautiful in its simplicity. I wish Americans had a word for this like the Japanese do, where it's like, it's just one word, it's 6 letters. We're like, you know, the dichotomy of and they're just like, Ikigai, done. Look at all that time we saved. So there's actually a couple, like if we were to divide this into two halves, right? You've got the you stuff, all right? So the stuff that has a focus on what are you good at? What do you love doing? Okay. So that's the you stuff. That's self-inspection. That's the stuff that we actually have control of. Okay. We can pick up new hobbies. We can learn new skills. We can figure out what we're awesome at. We can get better at things. Okay. That takes a lot of self-inspection, and it takes knowing like, okay, where do I want to improve? Do I want to focus on my strengths? Do I want to build up some weaknesses? What do I want to do? Okay. The other part of it is the them stuff. Okay. And going back to market research, right? What does the world want? What do they need? What problems are out there? What are people willing to spend money on? How do you find that out?
Surveys.
Surveys, like SurveyMonkey, stuff like that. You just ask them. Ask them. Somebody else said something at the same time. I don't know who it was. It was a lady.
I said ask them.
Ask them. Yeah. So finding out these kinds of questions will further refine your Ikigai so that you know like where you should focus your energy. And actually as you grow older, your Ikigai is going to change. Mine's changed. You know what mine was when I graduated from UMSL like a long time ago, 15 years ago, right? I just really wanted to be a software developer. I loved slinging code. I had the t-shirts and everything. I had one that said Code Monkey. I had one that had a caffeine molecule. Like it looked like Superman, but fueled by caffeine. It's great. Loved writing code. Now, you know what I've been doing is I have been automating, creating teaser videos for podcast hosts. They're still software, but it's more creative media and it's more automation. So my Ikigai's changed. Focus is a little bit different. Your Ikigai today may get bigger later. It may get smaller, more focused. It may multiply. You may have more than one. They might overlap. Some skills that you pick up in the coming years might overlap with some other skills. And you'd be like, aha, there's a new thing I can do that I wasn't able to do before and I can do it. It's going to change. So once you figure out what your Ikigai is, it's not set in stone. You don't have to typecast yourself. You can just keep learning, growing, doing, figuring yourself out, figuring out the world around you. If the market changes, if people all of a sudden, the problem's solved, like all the companies are sustainable, great. Okay, now what does the market need? What does the world need? What kinds of new problems are out there? Your Ikigai might change. And that's cool. That's cool. Any questions so far? We're getting into a lot of stuff. We're going to get into some like nuts and bolts tactics here a little bit. What do you guys think about this so far? Ikigai. What do you think of this idea?
I think I've actually heard of it before.
Yeah.
It's kind of like do what you love and you won't work a day in your life.
There you go.
That's I think my dad said that a lot.
A lot of people's dads have said that. My daughter's dads have said that from time to time.
It's gonna be you.
Do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. That's like one aspect of it. Yeah. You can be really, really awesome at like making custom monogrammed nose pieces for eyeglasses, but like, hey, if the market doesn't want it. Yeah. So talking about just the raw tactics here. How do you build a web-based business with Ikigai in mind? If I understand, Mr. Justin, you guys are in the middle of building your own businesses right now. Is that accurate? I saw you buying like dog treats or food or something. Was that?
Yeah, I was buying, that's him.
That's you? What's your business about?
It's dog treats that you can make at home.
Okay.
They're easy to make.
Nice.
The only ingredient you need to add is water.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
It's like an easy bake oven thing, but
Yeah.
dog.
It's an
Okay,
easy bake
cool.
oven.
it's because it's brand new to me and I'm like, that's cool. It's like a kit. What do you send? Like when somebody orders this up, do you just
We
send them like
send-
little?
Yeah, like it's a dry mix that has all the ingredients, and then all you need is pour water into it, and then you knead it, and then you pipe it out and you bake it.
All right.
Yeah.
You can just pipe it directly into the dog's mouth. I mean, it's logistics, man. Look at that. Look how profitable we are. So what's another business? Who else wants to volunteer? Like what their business? Like, do you each have one individually, or are you like sort of paired up roughly by who you're sitting next to, or each have one?
Some people are, it just depends.
Kind of, okay, all right, cool. Fast and loose. I like it. Who else wants to volunteer? Anybody? Nobody's making eye contact.
That's volunteer again.
We can, yeah, so
Oh,
we're,
oh.
yeah, we can go again. So we're working on a golf tee idea. So when you go to the range and you're at a turf mat, so now a lot of driving ranges are using turf mats, and we actually thought about Top Golf. And the tees, you know those white floppy tees that they use?
Yeah.
So they're really annoying because you can't move them up and down, and then you have to swap them out every time with a higher or lower one. So we're trying to work on developing an adjustable range tee,
Okay.
so that it can move to the height that you want it, and then you can move it back again.
That's cool. How do you adjust it? You like unscrew it or something? Or
So
unscrew it?
yeah, there are some right now that are made out of plastic, and the problem with those is that if you just hit them enough times, they just start to collapse.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to find either some sort of silicone rubber material that we're hoping to find, almost like if you know in the top of a mask, that nose piece, how it can be moved, and then you can keep it in one spot and then move it again. So we're going to try to find some sort of material like that.
Cool. Might have to talk with you a little bit later. Some ideas for you. Well, it's pretty cool. So, so down to the tactics, right? Let's say you got a brand new website. You just bought a domain, www.mycoolcompany.com. You know what you love doing. Now, how do you convey that in a website? How do you share that? What ways do you think you could think of to share that with the world at large? I'm gonna close this door real quick. It's kind of noisy.
Having a picture of you smiling, doing what you're doing.
You have to make sure to do it without a mask, though. Because,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Put a smile with your eyes.
There you go. It looks like the little carrot things, you know.
Yeah.
Right. A picture of you smiling, showing what you love doing. Like what? So, what would it look like if, like, so the smiling is a good part. I do that on my own website too. What kinds of things would you say about what you do and why you love doing it? Like, how can you get a customer to come with you on the journey and get to where you are and understand you in terms of, hey, this person really digs what they're doing, man. I want to do business with them based on that.
Like go through your process.
Yeah.
Kind of like why you enjoy doing it. Like whether it gives you like peace of mind or like it's like therapeutic or you just think it's really interesting.
Yeah.
Kind of go deeper to that.
Perfect. You know, it kind of goes back to just being authentic, being human. You know, a lot of people are like, well, I got to be dry, boring business, womp womp, right? You don't. People buy from people, right? You want to start a business, you're going to want to be a person. You're not a corporation, right? You're not a cold, heartless building. You're people, you're humans, and it's cool. It's okay to show that in your writing, in your content, in your website, in your prose. It's okay to show all that stuff. So how would you demonstrate that you're great at what you love doing?
Like displaying awards that you've gotten for doing that.
Okay.
I'm a 3-time recognized coder
Yeah.
for my thing or whatever. Or like give examples that people like look at.
You can show off your certifications. 3-time state champion of full contact origami. You know, you can put that stuff on there. Recommendations. Like if you've got a customer, like not the review that you were showing before, like, oh, I love the product, but the dog hated it. Like not that one, but like good 5-star ones, right? Put those on the site. Like you got social collateral right there. Like, well, these other people really liked the dog treats. They really liked the stuff, you know? Or that was
off his website.
well, you had, okay, so you were reading his review.
Yeah.
He bought my product.
Okay, and then were you the one that left the bad review?
No, I couldn't even figure out how to leave a review.
Oh,
So that
okay.
you wouldn't leave a bad one.
No, I was gonna leave a good
He
review.
blocked it off just for you. He's like, oh man, if it's that guy, like just disable the button, gray it out. I don't want to hear from him. Yeah. Well, okay, sorry, but yeah. So what I said to him, yeah. Like you can put that kind of stuff on the website if you've got the ability to, show like, hey, this person is 5-star rating, they loved it, they liked the flavor and so did the dog. Like they put it on the site, right?
Yeah.
You're great at what you do. You satisfied some people. Now, on the other side of it, this is the them side, right? How would you show that the world needs it? Like, what are some things that you can do to, again, get the customer to come on the journey with you and come to the same conclusion that you've arrived at that says, the world really needs this.
Like display how it's improved like someone's daily life or
There we go.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of it.
That's good. You look like you maybe want to say something. The black mask.
I mean, I completely agree with James.
Okay. Cool. Hey, I do too. Another thing that that works well is amplify the pain. There's a lot of pain in business, pain and just trouble out there. The world has. Sometimes they don't even know they have it. Sometimes they don't even know they have it. Now, if you can tell them a story and be like, well, has this ever happened to you? And it's a problem? Well, then people will read that and say, oh, shoot, man, they pulled this right out of my head. Like, this happens to me all the time. I didn't know this was a problem until I was today years old. Okay? You've just explained that the world needs your solution. And then how would you enable people to pay for it? How do you get them to part with their money as fast as possible?
Credit card.
Credit card. Mhm.
Apple Pay. Yeah.
Apple Pay. You got that done yet?
No, I'm talking to him.
You got it? Are you working on that? Apple Pay?
Working. It's not available, but
Okay. All right,
working
that's
on
cool.
it.
I'm not here to judge. I'm here to inform, man. I'm supporting you, brother. You
Yeah,
look like you're smiling. Are you smiling?
I am smiling.
Okay, cool. I can't tell. There's these dang masks, man. I hope this mask mandate gets up. So to sum up, like there absolutely is a way to figure out, what you want to be when you grow up, and it may change. It's okay if it changes. It's we're squishy human critters. We don't have to be set in stone. But it's also possible to build out a business that makes an enormous impact if you apply the principles of Ikigai to your life, your work, how you communicate, how you present yourself to the world at large. You're gonna have some good stuff. So, are there some things that you can think of in light of this that if you apply it to your own startups, your own businesses, like what kinds of changes? I'm looking for like 3 volunteers. What kinds of changes do you think you would make in order to more closely align with your Ikigai? You guys got any ideas? Who haven't I heard from in a while? Xbox guy. Xbox guy. I haven't.
PlayStation guy.
PlayStation guy. Sorry.
That's really offensive.
PlayStation.
Oh,
Yes.
All right, cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to presume. Well, he was like, "Well, you look like an Android user," so that's right. What kinds of things? What I put you on the spot again. I'm sorry, man. I got to put 2 in that.
Yeah. So this, you're kind of asking like how you can incorporate what you like into your business.
Well, not just what you like, but over of all the different things that you could change about your business. Like, what's one thing that would be like, I could make this change and get me closer to the mark. Anything you can think of?
Maybe to word differently, maybe it's like how can something we talked about that be applied specifically to one of your business ideas that you're working on? Right?
Right,
Is that what you're
yes.
asking? Yeah.
That I like his way of explaining it better.
Maybe you can ask someone else and I'll get some
Awesome.
help from their ideas.
Do you have somebody I should ask? Who do you want to put on the spot?
Anyone,
A lot of power, man. Use it responsibly.
I feel like Adam would know a good answer to this one.
Who's Adam? Is that him? That's him.
That is him.
Yeah, you are Adam.
My,
Yeah, yeah,
you know
go
what?
for it.
I'm AJ. That's Adam. My real name's Adam, but we're not doing that today. So
See, that's why I go by Fritz, because there's a buttload of Mikes and Michaels out there.
that's why I go by AJ.
See,
You know, I could be
thought there was
AJ
something I
too.
liked
No, you
about you.
couldn't.
I could if I wanted to.
This is like
So I guess to answer your question, something that I want to apply from our talk today to our business.
Excuse me, Sam. I can't hear that.
I think for the T idea at least, we should go back and start developing a website. And I think that first we're gonna work on a prototype, but I think that media presence is important and probably something that we should work on.
Awesome. And then let's do one more, because I got a few other things. We're not quite done. I had to bolt some stuff on the end. What's one more, like if you've got an idea of a business and you're like, actually, I'm gonna tweak it just a little bit. Yeah. Like what would that look like? You wanna pick somebody? You pick somebody. You pick you.
Someone
Listen,
can- someone can go.
There we go. Anybody got nothing yet? Well, I mean, you can let the idea stew for a little bit. But just kind of consider that and say, okay, well, how can I get closer to my Ikigai? And you're gonna do some amazing things. I have a little bit more. I had some other stuff to talk about, but I didn't really know where to put it. So I put like director's cut at the end, extra stuff, talk a little bit about what it was like for me to start a business, and then a little bit about search engine optimization, SEO, and then I've got some book recommendations that have worked wonderfully for me as I'm building this out. So starting a business, like I said, I didn't plan on starting one. I sort of accidentally became an entrepreneur. I'm thinking about writing a book called The Accidental Entrepreneur and just documenting my story. Starting a business is actually incredibly easy. Like it costs $61.25. All you got to do is open an LLC, State of Missouri, Secretary of State website, and do a name check and you're done, right? Keeping the thing going is the hardest thing I have ever done, okay? And I'm saying this as a man who I'm a husband. My wife and I have been married for 13 years. We have 4 kids. They're all girls and their ages 10, 9, 6, and 4. I have to think a little bit. Some aspects of running a business are harder than that, okay? So it is not for everybody, okay? It's nuts. And the biggest challenge of it really is mental. Like you're gonna wonder, like, what the heck am I doing? Like, what? You know, when you're the only one doing what you do, when you're the only one that can see the vision, and everybody else is like, just quit and get a job. Just quit and just, you know, fade into the background. Don't make waves. The world doesn't need what you're doing. And to just say, no, I hear the clarion call of what I'm supposed to be doing. This is my calling. And by God, I'm gonna do it. That's the hardest thing in the world. It's so hard. Starting a business is a piece of cake. You can do it today. It's easy. The other thing is, talking about a little bit about search engine optimization. So this is one of the things that we do at Arch DevOps. It's a service we provide. What we've learned is that SEO is kind of a long tail thing. It's a big investment in terms of like, it takes a while to get a return, right? Used to be back in the Wild West days, all you have to do is just put like really tiny font at the bottom of your page, the same color as the background of the page, and just litter it with keywords, and the search engine will go, wow, this person really knows a lot about this term, because they put it in there like 87 times. And so that's why they pop up farther up in the search engine. Now it's based on like who else is talking about your website, who else is talking about your company or your services or you as a person, right? It takes a little while to build that authority, but once you get to that point, then search engines will be like, this person, this business, they know what they're talking about because other people are talking about them too. It takes a while to build that momentum, but it's well worth it. So getting out there, doing like guest blog posts or like articles or getting published in other like newspapers and stuff like that, the more of that you get going, the better it goes, the better it is. I don't know if is that an aspect of building a business that you guys talk about, or is that sort of extra? Like, you talk about it? Cool. What kinds of things do you do personally to boost your SEO?
So I think a lot of them right now are like in the process of just building a website. So I was actually gonna ask
You wanna answer the
a
question?
question for all of them, because maybe they're not thinking of them right now, but
Nobody passing the
if
ball.
you don't know what SEO is, we're gonna talk more about that later on, but specifically, what could you think, what's some advice you could impart on them, like things they should, like right off the bat when they're building this thing, they should consider strictly from an SEO perspective?
Yeah, sure. Well, you want to balance readability with industry terminology, right? So here's an example of bad SEO, right? If you have just acres of words on screen and it's all like packed together and there's a lot of jargon and there's a lot of just dot, 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 and it looks, you got to have like a double doctorate in helicopter mechanics to read it and understand it. Like you're going to turn off your visitors, right? You got to be as clear and concise as possible, but still use a little bit of industry terminology just so people that are in the know, they'll get it, right? And I do a lot of stuff with WordPress sites. There are some pretty handy plugins for that. Do you guys use WordPress, or what do you use for your websites?
Yeah, they kind of, they've been picking and choosing, like, what do you guys using?
We're using Wix.
Wix. I think Wix may have a plugin for it. I'm not sure, but it'll go through and it'll analyze your content and say, okay, well, your readability score is kind of, as he would say, like it needs to be beefed up, and it'll give you some suggestions on how to improve it, right? Until it's good as green, then that's a good thing. It'll get you where you need to go, like 85-90% of the way there, if you go by that.
Sam, what are you using?
Shopify.
Shopify?
They have their own websites?
Bro.
Okay.
It's like,
I thought it was just like a way to pay. I didn't know that.
I did too. So
I
didn't know either.
Sam can have you, what do you guys use?
Yeah, see, I'm not the only one.
We're using Weebly.
using what? Sorry.
Weebly.
Okay. Cool. I think a lot of them they're going to have something on there to help improve your SEO. Because I mean, when you do good, they do good, right? If you make a website and it's like, oh my goodness, this, Weebly and Shopify, they suck, and it's actually because of the content on the site. It's not the fault of the provider. So the provider will create some ways to like let you check your SEO score. So yeah, it's something to think about. And then I got some book recommendations. These are ones that have helped me and a lot of other business owners too. These are just 3 of them. I've got a bunch of them in there, but the first one is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I would be surprised as heck if this isn't already required reading. Is it? Oh my goodness, what? Hey, you gotta read this book. It's a really good book. It was a game changer. I actually first heard about it from a guy at a company I used to work at years ago, a financial company. And he really rubbed me the wrong way, because he always seemed to be able to get people to do what he wanted them to do. Like, how is he cajoling all those people into doing this? Like, what the heck? And it pissed me off. But he told me about this book, and it wasn't until about 8 years later that like the second or third person told me about it, and I'm like, I probably ought to read this book, or at least listen to it on Audible, right? Absolute game changer, right? If you want to like 10x how much influence you have with the people you work with and the world at large, it's going to sound like, it probably sounds like as much a woo-woo, like a manipulation, but it's really not. There's a lot of science behind how our brains work and why we latch onto people, and why we kind of like, I don't really want to be around that person. That guy's, I don't know. I don't want to be in that other group, right? I want to be in the group where people like me, And I've learned a lot of cool stuff in this book. If you had met me 10 years ago, like before I read this book, you'd be like, this is not the same guy. Like, who is this Joker, this Fritz dude, right? A lot of the stuff that I've read in this book, I've applied it in my everyday life. Next book is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babbitt. You know Jocko?
Yeah.
Doesn't he look like he would just punch you in the face for no good reason?
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's crazy, but he's awesome. And if you get the chance to listen to this on Audible, it just enhances the effect. Like, you can read it, but you'll probably read it with your own mental voice. Like, you'll probably read it and be like, I shot the guy in the face and that like this. And if they're talking about like it, when you hear it, they're gravelly, like they've been yelling for years at recruits and stuff, and it's like, it's freaking awesome. Talks about what it means to take full ownership of a situation and understand, like, I have got complete responsibility. I am not gonna throw anybody under the bus. If I screw up, it's my fault. And I'm not gonna spoil it, it's right at the start of the book, but there was an operation in the Middle East somewhere, and he made a decision and it got one of his guys killed. And rather than be like, well, it was the Khan's fault, it was this fault, he's like, it was my fault. He started by saying, whose fault was it? And everybody was like, it was my fault. He's like, no, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. It was my fault. He owned up to it and he changed the process. That whole book is based off of that. It's awesome. It was hard for him to go through. It was hard for his team to go through. But this is an immense lesson that applies well in life and business both. And then the last book is Start With Why. Have you guys heard of Simon Sinek? That dude's awesome. Now, he won't punch you in the face with his fists, but he will punch you in the face with his mouth. That sounds weird. But like he has just such awesome ideas about things, about, okay, well, you're getting ready to start on this new venture, like get your foundation built first. What's your why? Why are you doing this? Get good and solid on that. Yes, sir.
Is he the guy that gave like that famous like millennial speech?
I believe, yes. I was thinking it was either him or Steve Jobs. In my head, I was like, Simon's face fits what I remember. So, and then he said yes. And I'm like, yes. I'll go with him. I trust his judgment. But this is a really awesome book. This is really awesome. Got more. I ran out of time to put them in. I didn't want to bore you guys with a bunch of like books and stuff. But these three, if you start with why, and also extreme ownership and how to win friends and influence people, it's going to be it's going to be a good thing. Good thing. So if you want to get in touch with me, I would love to keep in touch with each and every one of you. I have a heart for young, future, possible, hopeful business owners. I'm always down to chat and share ideas, advice, whatever. I'll charge, that sort of thing. If you want to reach me, I'm at this address here, fritz@archdevops.com. Well, it's not shining on the thing. Well, you can see it, but it's fritz@archdevops.com. I'm all over LinkedIn, not so much Twitter and Instagram, but you can find me. But yeah, wish I had some business cards, but I ran out. That's me. I would love to hear from you. Okay, just if you email me, just let me know like who you are, what your project is, your name, stuff like that. So like, I'm the one with the mask. Okay, cool. Helps you narrow it down. Okay. Well, that's the last slide. I'm done. I'm done. Yeah.
We have a few minutes left. Does anybody have any questions? I got a question first. Can you tell them a little bit about just Arch DevOps? I know you kind of mentioned it, kind of basic.
Yeah.
What you might go into a little more in depth, just kind of what you guys do.
Oh yeah. So I mean, at the topmost level, we're huge nerds. So it's me. I'm the Chief Technology Officer, and then my business partner Alex Elias, who I think was just here recently.
He'll be in a couple weeks.
Okay. Well, he's a huge nerd too, and you can tell him I said that. He's the Chief Strategy Officer, and what we do is a mishmash of things. We build websites, we do software testing, we do custom software development, test automation. We build out pipelines so that whenever people are like, I got a project, I got some code, how do I get it to the customer as quick as possible? Like just run it through the gauntlet, and if it survives, the customer gets the app or the website or whatever rolled out to them, fully tested. As I mentioned, we do a lot with creative design work, so the podcast teaser videos thing. Got a piece of software that I just literally finished writing yesterday, actually. Grind through and make a teaser video for you automatically. I tested it against Reddit, and it was 50% effective. So I guess it needs to work out. But yeah, we love efficiency. We love process. We love helping companies. And a lot of times it's when companies have a problem that's so big they can't just hire a person in. They have to bring in maybe a small specialized fractional team. So that's what we do.
Anybody else have a question? I have one more question. I think this coding stuff is, I mean, just your experience and how you got into it. Can you maybe tell a little bit about like I don't know, like where you started and like how the evolution has been with that. And I know that technology has like completely changed in the last 15, 20 years, of course, but like if anybody in this room is thinking about maybe going into that area, is any advice you'd give them or just kind of, you know,
Yeah, good advice. Where do you want me to start? Like the start of like right after college
yeah, so I
or?
asked like 5 questions in that one sentence, but.
That's okay.
Yeah, like, so can you just tell them a little bit about like your experience with just coding and advice you'd give if someone wanted to pursue that career?
So I used to hate process in my younger days. I was really unstructured. And so like I was saying in slide 7 or whatever, I learned things the hard way. So when I started off with code, writing software, I would just slam bang stuff around until it would compile and then hopefully it would work. I didn't write a single unit test in my life. I didn't know if my code was busted until the teacher told me that it was. But my experience was that later on, it's less like science and it's more like art. It's more like gardening. Sometimes it can seem like you're just beating the computer with sticks until it does what you want it to do. But it's very much of both sides of the brain activity. You use a lot of logic, but you use a lot of creation. You're telling a computer, which is basically, it's a rock that you trick into thinking using electricity. You're telling it to do things for you so that you don't have to do it yourself. It's amazing, like gods, okay? Don't let the power go to your head. If you decide you want to get into that direction, I mean, there's like a ton of different languages. There's a ton of different platforms. Everybody's got their own stack they use. Well, I love Ruby and I love this and that. And somebody's like, screw you, .NET is the way. Okay, well, that's fine. But each of these people, they don't realize it, but they're just operating in their Ikigai. Maybe they're really, really awesome at solving a problem using one tool set, and another person's really awesome at solving another tool set. But it's like comparing a toolbox of a carpenter to the tools that a surgeon uses, right? They solve different problems. So as long as you know what kinds of problems you're looking to solve, then you can pick the right tools and go with it. Yes.
I know you said you didn't mean to be a business owner, like this accidental. So what was the thing that made you choose to do that, or what was the transition?
I got let go from a place. Seriously, I did. So I had, so that financial job that I was talking about before was Exigy, which is pretty close here. It's in Webster Groves. I was there for about 3.5, 4 years. And I said, okay, it is time for me to leave. It was time for me to go, right? And the first job that came up was a contracting job. And I had heard, oh, scary stuff, contracting. Oh, they can let you go at any time. Well, any job can let you go at any time. I don't know what the heck was the stigma. So I started, I worked at that place for a year and then I'm like, okay, time to go to the next place. And that next place was CenturyLink. I was there for about 1.5 years and they had a downturn. Like when I showed up, that was like the denouement of the company and they were starting to let people go. And they said, well, we have to let you go. And it's not a personal thing. We have to let people go and contractors are often the first ones to go. Now, for 2 years before that, I had been thinking about like, I could probably start a business. It can't be that hard. I mean, people keep coming to me with jobs. I'm like, maybe I should just go find my own clients. Maybe I don't need a recruiter. I can do this. I know my way around. And I literally, seriously, remember how I said, you can start a business for $61.25 on the secretary. Okay, I had all of the data filled out. All I had to do was hit the button. Like, I think I even had my credit card information in there already. And I'm just like, oh, I gotta hit the button. Well, the day that I got my notice, I just went home and went, and it became a business. That's it. So yeah, the thing that caused the transition was, something that other people would be like, what a negative thing, I got let go, I'm a failure. What a fat face am I? And I used it instead as fuel to be like, okay, well, I'll just let go of this vine and just hope that something's out there for me to grab onto. Fortunately, I found my first client within like 3 days after getting my notice. But, oh my goodness, scary as heck. Okay, if you're risk averse, don't start a business that way. But it's exciting. It's always been exciting. And there have been some things that I'm like, holy, what in the world is going on here? Like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, But you just keep pushing forward because you can just feel it in your bones that there's something out there. You know it's out there. You ever felt that feeling? You ever been like, dang, there's something, and I don't, nobody else knows it but me. I'm okay with that. So yeah.
Anybody else have one last question? Time for one more.
Wait, so what kind of job did you have at CenturyLink?
I was like a test automation engineer. So they had all kinds of software that like 20 different teams had written and contributed to. They had all these different websites, all these different web services, Windows apps and things, and it would simulate the user interactions. Like, okay, we're going to create a new customer record. Okay, click this button, type this in here, do this, look and see if this is set to that. Okay, boom, boom, boom. Like hundreds of steps. And I and a few other people, there were like 6 of us on the team, were in charge of like maintaining all of that crap. I was saying it was crap, it's terrible. So, but it was a mess, and we had to go in there and clean up a whole lot of stuff, refactor a lot of code, make sure it works well, it doesn't just fail because, hey, I'm having a bad hair day, you know, that's a problem. But yeah, it was a lot of cleanup. It's like a hazmat team, kind of. But it was exciting though. I mean, there were some cool things that we did. Had an outage one time. When CenturyLink has an outage, you know that's a problem. So yeah, good stuff.
All right, let's give Fritz a round of applause. Thank you. We're gonna take our links off the recording here.
All right.
And then